WannaCry ransomware cyberattack. WannaCry ransomware attack, what it is, why it is trending.
The WannaCry ransomware attack is an ongoing worldwide cyber attack by the WannaCry ransomware cryptoworm, which targets computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system by encrypting data and demanding ransom payments in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. The attack started on Friday, 12th of May 2017, and has been described as unprecedented in scale, infecting more than 230,000 computers in over 150 countries. The worst hit countries are reported to be Russia, Ukraine, India and Taiwan, but parts of Britain's National Health Service (NHS), Spain's Telefonica, FedEx and Deutsche Bahn were hit, along with many other countries and companies worldwide. WannaCry spreads across local networks and the Internet to systems that have not been updated with the most recent security updates to directly infect any exposed systems. To do so, it uses the Eternal Blue exploit developed by the U.S. National Security Agency (NSA), which was released by the shadow brokers 2 months before. A critical patch had been issued by Microsoft on the 14th of March 2017 to remove the underlying vulnerability for supported systems, nearly 2 months before the attack. But many organizations had not yet applied it. Those still running exposed older, unsupported operating systems such as Windows XP and Windows Server 2003 were initially at particular risk, but the day after the outbreak, Microsoft took the unusual step of releasing updates for these operating systems too. Shortly after the attack began, a web security researcher who blogs as Malware Tech discovered an effective kill switch by registering a domain name he found in the code of the ransomware. This greatly slowed the spread of the infection. However, new versions have now been detected that lack the kill switch. As per official news agencies' reports, the cyber attack has slowed down drastically and has died down as of the 19th of May 2017. WannaCry is a ransomware computer worm that targets computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system. The payload works in the same fashion as most modern ransomware. It finds and encrypts a range of data files, then displays a ransom note informing the user and demanding a payment in Bitcoin. It is considered a network worm because it also includes a transport mechanism to automatically spread itself, then uses the Eternal Blue exploit to gain access, and the double pulsar exploit to install and execute a copy of itself. This transport code scans for vulnerable systems. Eternal Blue. The network infection vector, Eternal Blue, was released by the hacker group The Shadow Brokers on the 14th of April 2017, along with other tools apparently leaked from Equation Group, which is widely believed to be part of the United States National Security Agency. The patch was to the server message block (SMB) protocol used by Windows, and fixed several client versions of the Microsoft Windows operating system, including Windows Vista onwards, with the exception of Windows 8, as well as server and embedded versions such as Windows Server 2008 onwards and Windows Embedded POS-ready 2009 respectively, but not the older Windows XP. According to Microsoft, according to Donna Sircar, head of the Windows Insider program at Microsoft, Windows 10 was not affected. Double Pulsar. Double Pulsar is a backdoor tool, also released by the Shadow Brokers on the 14th of April 2017. Starting from the 21st of April 2017, security researchers reported that computers with the Double Pulsar backdoor installed were in the tens of thousands. By the 25th of April, reports estimated the number of infected computers to be up to several hundred thousands, with numbers increasing exponentially every day. The WannaCry code can take advantage of any existing double pulsar infection, or installs it itself. Kill switch. The software contained a URL that, when discovered and registered by a security researcher to track activity from infected machines, was found to act as a kill switch that shuts down the software, stopping the spread of the ransomware. The researcher speculated that this had been included in the software as a mechanism to prevent it being run on quarantined machines, so that it is harder for antivirus researchers to investigate the software. They observed that some sandbox environments will respond to all queries with traffic in order to trick the software into thinking that it is still able to access the internet. So the software queried an intentionally unregistered domain to verify it was receiving traffic that it should not. He also noted that it was not an unprecedented technique, having been observed in the Necker's Trojan. What is ransomware? Ransomware is a type of malware that attempts to extort money from a computer user by infecting and taking control of the victim's machine, or the files or documents stored on it. Typically, the ransomware will either lock the computer to prevent normal usage, or encrypt the documents and files on it to prevent access to the saved data. There are two main sorts of ransomware. Lock screen ransomware pops up a window that takes over your computer mobile device, so you can't use any other applications, make calls, or run your antivirus. This ransomware usually accuses you of some sort of crime, but offers to let you keep on working once you have paid a fine. File encrypting ransomware leaves your applications running just fine, but scrambles your data files so you can't open them anymore. This ransomware usually pops up a window offering to sell you the decryption key. Some of the malicious actions by malware: encrypt personal files, images, movie files, documents, text files. Encrypt files on shared network drives, resources. Log system access using login. Crash systems through resource use, example spawning processes. Disrupt and annoy open browser windows. Display pornographic images. Why is ransomware so scary? Malware attack are nothing new. So why are ransomware, specifically crypto ransomware, such big threat? New strains are being created at breakneck speed. Detection takes time. Most ransomware have a gestation period. There is no specific antivirus that can prevent ransomware from entering your system. Once your data files are hijacked, you have to pay up unless you have backed up your data. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and a digital payment system invented by an unknown programmer, or a group of programmers, under the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Bitcoins are produced by mining, and can be exchanged for other currencies, products, and services in open and clandestine markets. It was released as open-source software in 2009. Some weird and scary things ransomware can do. Works on Linux and Macs. Is the world's leading operating system. Windows is a #1 target. Unix-like competitors have a reputation for offering better out-of-the-box security, but not even the best of them are spared. Linux Encode gained a reputation as the first to target the Linux platform. It's also one of the easiest to defeat due to its amateur approach to encryption. Then there's Kerranga. Some believe this is an updated version of Linux Encode and the first ransomware launched on Mac OS X. Kerranga is distributed via BitTorrent client transmission, suggesting that illegal downloads do in fact have a price. It can talk to you. You've heard of talking mobile apps. Now meet the talking malware. After encrypting the victim's files, the ransomware program known as Cerber delivers instructions on how to pay the ransom. The instructions are contained in text, HTML, and VBS files. It can recite the message in audio. They demands an average ransom of $500 to $800 via anonymous network tunnel tour. If you don't pay up, the amount doubles within 2 weeks. Target mobile phones, tablets and smart TVs. Ransomware is primarily a computer-based threat. However, it rears its ugly head on other devices as well. Stealing security headlines in this category is Fuseb, a Trojan that targets porn viewers by masquerading as an XXX video player. This theory is fueled by a Blue Coat report proclaiming ransomware as the #1 security threat on mobile devices. The only thing scarier than ransomware on your phone is the kind that invades your home. Frank TechLocker, a flocker, originally started by targeting Android phones, before eventually adopting capabilities that allowed it to attack Android-powered smart TVs. The malware then demands $200 be paid in iTunes gift card credits. Deletes your files one by one. The classic ransomware infection blocks access to your files until you pay up. Jigsaw goes one step further. It will encrypt your files and incrementally delete them until you pay the ransom. Clearly the authors were heavily inspired by horror movie franchise Saw. A ransom note is accompanied by an image of Billy, the creepy puppet, that makes an appearance in each film, as well as a red digital clock that performs the countdown. Perform full system encryption. Most of the ransomware threats on our list operate by encrypting your files. However, it's aimed to paralyze you entirely by locking up your whole system. Petya was one of the first discovered to have full system encryption capabilities. Overwriting the MBR allows it to encrypt the hard drive, crash the OS, and present the ransomware note. Take your money and delete your files. Some ransomware victims opt to simply pay the ransom to regain access to the mission-critical files as soon as possible. Sadly, giving in to the ransom demands can actually make matters worse. Ranscam, an aptly named infection that presents itself as ransomware, will delete your files whether you pay the ransom or not. Ironically, this scheming malware was looked down upon by ransomware authors, who realized that destroying files is a bad look for the community at large. After all, victims are not going to pay if they believe there's no chance they get the files back. Poses a Windows update. Phantom targets business users by pretending to be a Windows update complete with a Microsoft copyright and familiar dialog screen. But once you agree to the terms, the utility you think is updating your system is busy encrypting your files with AES encryption you couldn't crack with a virtual sledgehammer. This one is scary. Do's and don'ts to keep your computer safe from WannaCry ransomware. You need to immediately install MA Windows Update bundles. Shutting down your system for a few minutes will be worth it if it enables you to avoid this. If you're still using Windows XP, you're out of luck, but the March and April update bundles are available for Windows Vista. Also, Microsoft has released a patch for Windows XP and its server counterpart Windows 2003. In order to prevent the infection, users and organizations should apply relevant patches to Windows systems as mentioned in the Microsoft Security Bulletin MS17010. The malware has been targeting commonly used Office file extensions such as .ppt, PowerPoint, .doc and docx, Word, Excel, SXXL, and image file extensions such as TIFF.RAW, among various other common file types for archiving emails, databases, etc. This attack type may evolve over time to further protect against SMBv1 attacks. Customers should consider blocking legacy protocols on the networks as part of the best practices to prevent ransomware attacks. Users should maintain an updated antivirus software. Regularly check for integrity of the information stored on databases, to not open attachments in unsolicited emails. Restrict users' ability to install and run unwanted software applications, among various others. Individuals or organizations are not encouraged to pay the ransom, as this does not guarantee files will be released. Report such instances of fraud to certain and law enforcement agencies. Perform regular backups of all critical information to limit the impact of data or system loss and to help expedite the recovery process. Ideally, this data should be kept on a separate device, and backups should be stored offline. Don't open attachments in unsolicited emails, even if they come from people in your contact list, and never click on a URL contained in an unsolicited email, even if the link seems benign. In cases of genuine URLs, close out the email and go to the organization's website directly through browser. You can use these tools. Tool No More Cry to prevent WannaCry ransomware by CCNcert. Sophos. Hitman Pro. Malwarebytes Anti-Ransomware formerly Crypto Monitor. Trend Micro Ransomware Screen Unlocker Tool. Microsoft Enhanced Mitigation and Experience Toolkit Emit with inputs from Microsoft and CERT-in. Common types of ransomware. WannaCry. WannaCry is a widespread ransomware campaign that is affecting organizations across the globe. Over 125,000 organizations in over 150 countries have been impacted. The ransomware strain is also known as WannaCry, WannaCryptor, and currently affects Windows machines through a Microsoft exploit known as Eternal Blue. Keranga. According to Ars Technica, Keranga ransomware was recently discovered on a popular BitTorrent client. Keranga is not widely distributed at this point, but it is worth noting because it is known as the first fully functioning ransomware designed to lock Mac OS X applications. Jigsaw. Jigsaw encrypts then progressively deletes files until ransom is paid. The ransomware deletes a single file after the first hour, then deletes more and more per hour until the 72-hour mark, when all remaining files are deleted. Cerber. Cerber targets cloud-based Office 365 users and is assumed to have impacted millions of users using an elaborate phishing campaign. This type of malware emphasizes the growing need for SaaS backup in addition to on-premises crisis. This form of ransomware can encrypt files on fixed, removable, and network drives, and it uses strong encryption algorithms and a scheme that makes it difficult to crack within a reasonable amount of time. Zycryptor. Zycryptor is a self-propagating malware strain that exhibits worm-like behavior, encrypting files and also infecting external drives and flash drives so it can be distributed to other computers. CTB Locker. The criminals behind CTB Locker take a different approach to virus distribution. Taking a page from the playbooks of Girl Scout cookies and Mary Kay cosmetics, these hackers outsource the infection process to partners in exchange for a cut of the profits. This is a proven strategy for achieving large volumes of malware infections at a faster rate. Should you pay the ransom? So the big question, usually left unanswered in technical discussions of ransomware bullshit: should you pay? At a typical price point around $300 to $600, £200 to £400, ransomware can be expensive. On the other hand, think about what might be in those scrambled files. Your baby videos, those tax return documents you were supposed to keep for 7 years. For better or for worse, most ransomware gangs have acquired a bit of an honor among thieves' reputation, so that if you'd pay of the money, you almost certainly will get your files back. On the other hand, law enforcement and security experts are very likely to say, these are crooks. This is extortion. If you can possibly take it on the chin, we urge you not to pay. But those are easy words to say if it's not your data on the line. Interestingly, one reason for not paying extortionists is that there is often no way to ensure that they won't come back to gouge you for a second payment, or a third, and so on. But, as described above, modern file scrambling ransomware doesn't actually steal your files. Crooks don't have a copy of anything of yours, just the private key to unlock the scrambled files on your own computer. In theory. Then, once you've paid up, decrypted your files and disinfected the malware, you and the crooks are back on an even footing. And they can't come back for more. Should you pay? We're not going to moralize about whether it's always unacceptable to support criminality by paying up, even if you are in a difficult position. We'll leave you with plain advice, namely, it's okay to pay, but it's much better not to. So, keep these 2 points in mind. Don't pay if you can possibly avoid it, even if it means some personal hassle. Take precautions today, example backup, proactive antivirus, web and email filtering, so that you avoid getting into a position where you ever need to pay. Remember, if you don't have backups and you lose your laptop, you're in the same trouble, worse, actually, than you would be with ransomware. After all, there's no one you can pay any amount of money to in order to get your data back.